This is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I do not believe in coincidences.
You have 2 sons. She started bawling. She said my 2 sons had passed away in a car accident 2 years ago.
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Okay. Welcome to the Coffee and Jesus podcast.
I have a super duper special guest here with me today. I've got Wyatt right here. Stud. I'm so excited though, guys. Today is literally gonna be insane. We're sharing some like crazy, jaw-dropping stories that are gonna blow your guys' minds. And so I'm super excited. With no further ado, you wanna give a little intro on who you are? And
So my name is Wyatt, obviously, and I was raised Christian, grew up Christian, and we had gone into a non-denominational church. From there, I've been going to a non-denominational church. My faith was never my own. It was always kind of based on my parents, and it was just, okay, this is where I am because this is where my parents have me. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, God's real because my parents say he's real. You know, I didn't actually believe it for myself for so long. And then high school rolls around and it's like, I'm introduced to all these different things and there's things going on with my parents, just like, especially with like drinking. Mm-hmm. So because alcohol was always involved in my life at home with my parents and stuff, it was like, okay, you know, maybe it's not so bad. Like it's fine if my parents are doing it. So I started drinking with some of my friends and it just turned into this big thing where it was like, I was like terrible. I was drinking almost every day whenever I could. Didn't matter what time or anything, just because I was addicted to it. And I was like, I love feeling like this. I can forget about whatever's going on just for a little bit. Like I was always attracted to like fake fixes in my life. And so I had gotten caught by my best friend's parents because they were out of town and we were gonna have a party at his house and they had found out and then just went through a rabbit trail of just finding all these things out. Actually went through our phones and saw like our whole messages and everything, which is how we got caught. Praise God, we got caught. So then they had told me like, hey, we want you to tell your parents. Like we don't have to be I don't want to be the one to tell your parents. We want you to tell them. So I had told my parents, just waited super last minute until they're like, okay, if you wait any longer, like we're gonna tell your parents. And it's like, okay, I'll just tell them. So I told my parents about everything and it was crazy because my parents were actually like really, really sad about it, which was really interesting for me because I feel like I didn't understand why my parents were so upset and so sad about it. Because I was like, you guys do this all the time. Like, what's wrong with me doing it, right? But I understood like, yeah, I mean, definitely I'm not old enough to drink anyways. So probably shouldn't be anyways. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty upset that I had gotten caught afterwards. My parents had grounded me, couldn't do anything. It was just go to school, come home. Super upset. And then I went to a camp. I was at camp and it was the last night and I remember there was an altar call moment and I forgot completely what the altar call moment was for. And I was just down there and I just remember kind of sitting with myself and I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore because I had felt so like, I don't know, I felt empty, like I wasn't complete because like going out and drinking and doing all that stuff, like that was what I thought completed me. So when that was taken away, I just felt so empty and so like, dang, there's nothing to me. Like I have no life without this stuff. So I was just kind of like, dang, like I don't want to feel empty anymore. I don't want to feel like this. And I just kind of sat there and cried out to God. I was like, God, I don't want to feel empty anymore. And from then on, I haven't felt like that at all. Like I feel full of purpose. Yeah. Since it was a genuine, I'm crying out to God, like, God, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I felt light, it was great. I felt light. And then one of my leader at the time, Cameron, he had come up to me. He was like, hey, I want to pray for you. And so he had prayed over me and it was great. It was like exactly everything I needed to hear in the moment. So it's like, that's 100% God. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, and then coincidentally, my parents were there that night and I was like, what the heck? Why are my parents here?
Just
This is, yeah, so weird. But I think it's because they knew that there was a talent show later on that night, and I'm in a band, so my band was gonna perform. And I think they just wanted to come see. I don't know.
That's right.
But they were just there early, so I was like, okay, sick.
Yeah.
So I look at Cameron like, dude, I feel like I need to go apologize to my parents right now. Like, actually tell them that I'm sorry for what I was doing. Like, I actually, like, I understand why that was wrong. Like, I was trying to be completed and fulfilled by all these other things. You know, like these fake fixes. I was fixing on these fake things, and then God's my long-term fix, you know. And I finally was like, okay, like I'm gonna pursue God. I'm gonna run after Him. And He was like, okay, go do it then. And I was like, I don't want to go talk to them.
Right.
And He's like, no, you have to. If you feel like you should right now, and you told me you wanted to, then you're gonna go do it. I'll make you go do it. So I walk over, and I look at them. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, what? Because it had been a few months after I gotten caught, and I told them, I was like, I'm so sorry for doing this. Just lay out everything to them, like all the times I was drinking and everything. And I finally had this like moment with my parents, because we had never really had like a great relationship when I was younger. Just very, it just wasn't great. You know, I feel like every kid goes through that season with their parents, that it's a rough time. You're not seeing eye to eye with your parents, and that's how it was for me. And so I finally had this amazing moment with my parents, and we were just hugging, we were all crying, just like, this is awesome. And then there were some things that my parents had done that was definitely wrong for sure, but I'm not in any place to judge. You know, my parents are completely different people, and I had looked at them and was like, I forgive you guys for like all the wrong things you've done to me, and you know, all those things I never thought that I could like unsee. I was like, I forgive you guys for those things. And it was just this crazy moment where it was like, you know, they're forgiving me, I'm forgiving them. So it's just super powerful moment. And then after camp, it was like, okay, I don't know what to do next, which I feel like that's like, if you go to a Christian camp, you kind of know like that feeling of like, you know, they call it like a camp high, where it's like, you feel so good after camp, you're empowered, you feel great. And it's like after, it's like, okay, where do I go from here? And it's like you're questioning, and you're just questioning, and it's like, and then you're just kind of flowing back into that,
That's real.
into that area. And I had kind of gone in and out of my old habits and stuff. Drinking kind of came back a little bit afterwards, but I was so heavily convicted. I was just like, I had a few sips of alcohol afterwards, and I was just like, dang, definitely not for me anymore.
Yeah,
I feel bad about doing that.
Right.
And you know, I had told my friends and stuff like, hey, hold me accountable. Like I don't want to drink anymore. This is bad. From then on, me and my friends have just been holding each other accountable. It's like, okay, we're all good. We're all completely sober, which is crazy to say. I'm sober at 18 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's a wild thing to say.
Totally. Dude, like that is so real though. I just want to like say like that is real, and 100%. I think there's a lot of people who do struggle with like alcohol when they're young, and to see you, I think that God can use you to tell people who are struggling with it, hey, like there is overcoming it, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And I love that you use the fake fix, because alcohol, like you said, is such a fake fix.
Yeah.
And you had to go to this low moment to figure out that fake fix, bro.
Yeah.
And that is so cool.
Absolutely. And I never, and every time I think about it, I'm never ungrateful for that though either, like being so low and in the places that I was, because it's like, dang, like I get to use, like God uses my story. Like I've had so many encounters with people where I get to share all these crazy things that happened that I was doing, and it's like God uses that, and I'm like, I'm actually grateful that I did that, but that God pulled me out of it and He found me where I was. It's great all around. But yeah, so didn't know what to do for my like last year of school. I was a junior in high school, gonna graduate early, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with my life. Like I feel like I have no plan or anything. Like
Mhm.
I was doing construction, installing doors and windows, and I'm like, I mean, I could probably do this for the rest of my life, but I don't think it'd be like the greatest like
Mhm.
thing to do with my time. And so I was just working and trying to just find all these fun hobbies to do that would just like, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. Just trying out things, which was, I think trying out things is a great thing to do. I think everyone should always try as many things as you can before you say no to it, you know, job wise.
Yeah.
Job wise.
Yeah.
But
Can
so
you clarify that?
yeah, let me clarify. Job wise. I think it's good to try everything. But and then so it's now my last year of camp, and I'm just like, dang, like I don't know what to do.
Mm.
I believe in God still, but like it's just very like I'm not reading my Bible.
Mhm.
I'm not even really praying. It's maybe like it's a cry for help prayer, like
Mm.
I'm so sad. I need help, Lord. And of course he's gonna help pull me out, but it's like, okay, what are you doing in your free time? Like, are you spending time with me? Are you doing things that make you happy?
Mhm.
Or is all you're doing just making you sad because you're still trying to find something else that isn't God? And that's what I was doing. I was trying to find more things that would fulfill me. Because I thought like, okay, if I get a good career, that's going to fulfill me.
Mhm.
I'm 18 years old. I don't need to have a career set in stone right now, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was just super confused. Like, I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. And so I went to camp, and I already know, it's like, okay, everybody knows I'm graduating early. They're gonna push Bible college on me. I can feel it. I don't want to do Bible college at all. And then the first night of camp, like great night and everything. I had a lot of fun, and I'm just talking with one of the head pastors of the college, the director, Pastor Jake, and because they had a college like booth area in the back, and I was just like, okay, like I'll like ask about it and everything. And so we had just been talking, and it was great. But his thing was, I want you to do the college, but like if you don't have a burden for it, then that's okay. But I think you should do it. I tell God, I'm like, okay, if you want me to do the college, like if this is your will for me, I need 3 clear signs. And if I don't get these signs, then I know that I can just walk away from it and it'll be okay. I don't need to feel bad about walking away. And so then I suck at basketball. Like I am terrible at basketball. And I'm with Pastor Jake, and we're at camp still. I'm with Pastor Jake and our guest speaker, Pastor Ben Graves. And they're like, so on a scale of 1 to 10, like how do you feel about the Bible college? And I was like a solid 6, you know, like I'm like thinking about it. And I was standing like in the deep 3 area, and I can barely even shoot a free throw, dude. And I'm like, if I make this 10 out of 10, like I'll do the college, like mainly as a joke. And I shoot it, it hits the very top of the backboard, and just kind of like, instead of bouncing off, just like sits there and rolls in to the hoop. And I don't know if that was a sign or not, but I counted it as one because I was like, there's no way I made a shot right now. And they went crazy, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing the Bible college now. But then that wasn't the only sign. There was 2 more. And
Dang, but you wanted 3 lucky wishes.
yeah, dude, of
You
course,
were allowed.
bro. I needed to know. I needed to know bad.
That's good that you can ask God, you know,
Mhm.
he'll show you.
Yeah, and the other 2, it was just like conversations with people, and just, yeah, I had talked to one of the leaders that was there, and just one of my really close friends now, Bailey. He's like an older brother to me, obviously. He's great, and we were just talking, and there was just something about that conversation we had where I was like, I know, I like felt in my heart like this is the direction I need to go. This is the college is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the last night Pastor Jake had prayed for me, and it wasn't even about the college or anything. It was just a prayer about direction of my life. And I was like, okay, it's the college. I need to do the college. So I grabbed Pastor Jake that night because I was like, okay, if I don't tell him now, I never will.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Jake, I'm gonna do the college. Hold me to it. Once we get home, I'll do the application and everything. And so I go home, kind of sit on it, and then he tells me, he's like, hey, do your application. Like, you need to do it. That was a clear, like, moment and sign from God to do it. So signed up, registered. I had one more class left of high school. And it was like, okay, we'll work it out. Pastor Jake worked it out with me. And then I went to Bible college. Still didn't know what to do with my life. I was just very like, I don't know why I'm here. And so like majority of the first semester, which is weird to say, like I didn't take advantage of it. Like I didn't care to be there, and like it's like I'm paying for it, but I like don't really care to be here still. And it was right before winter break. We were at a Thursday night prayer, and something happened that night where I just God impressed on my heart, like, be intentional with this season that you're in. Not only because you're paying for it, but I want you to learn how to spend time with me. And so from then on, it was like, okay, I want to be here. I'm here. I'm devoted. So over winter break, I was like, okay, I'm going to work. But when I'm not working, I'm sitting at home and I'm reading my word, getting into it. I'm journaling, picking up new habits with the Lord. And then we go on missions. We do all these crazy things. And I was just like, dang, like, yeah, I cannot deny that God is real. Like, you have moved so much in my life. And in the last, just one semester of Bible college, my mind was transformed, and just seeing how God works in front of you and using you and your story, and just like the power of prayer is insane. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Just another year of Bible college after this.
Dude.
Yeah.
So fire, and that's so cool. I think
Absolutely.
that it's good. I think that people need to do what you did, where you're like, God, I need to know what you want me to do. Or even like the simplest question that I think, not simplest, but I think the question people ask all the time, God, are you real?
Yeah.
And people just need to ask for signs, because he will totally show you, but you have to be
100%.
willing. And I think the thing is, your heart has to be willing to. And
Exactly.
you know, like when
Yeah.
you were getting prayed over by, what's that dude's name? The dude that was praying for you when your parents were there?
Cameron.
When Cameron was praying for you, your heart was kind of hardened to the idea of like, I don't want to forgive my parents. But God kind of used him, gave you that nudge, like, no, like you have to, you know, like this is a part of you kind of evolving with God, becoming closer to God. You have to forgive, because, you know, like in order to be forgiven, you have to forgive. That's what God says, you know?
Absolutely.
Dude, it's so rad. That's such a cool story. And like the signs that God showed you. Dude, that basketball one was peak, bro. I gotta say, that's definitely a sign.
I tell everybody that's the reason why I did Bible college, just because I made a 3-pointer, and they're like, what?
So like, what the heck, dude? That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I definitely think that, like, if any of you guys, like, who are watching this right now, are even wondering anything from God, why do I feel this way? God, are you real? God, what do I do for my future? God, why do I feel this void from everything right now? Ask him. Say, Lord, I'm going to put my faith that you're real. Lord, I know you're real. I need you to answer me right now. And you can ask God these questions. These are actually righteous questions. Job questions God all the time. And he says, Job, you are asking righteous questions. And he asked like the hardest questions. It was when he was suffering. He even said, like, I like rebuke my life. I don't even want to live. And he's like, God, like, I have so much pain. Like, why do I feel this? Like, God, is this just? And he's like, these are righteous questions. Like, you have righteous questions. Receive your answers. And like, you'll receive your answers. Just keep asking and stay faithful to God, you know, because God's always faithful to us. And
Totally.
dude, that is an amazing story. And I did not know that there was so much depth to you going to the college. I thought you were just like, oh, I'm just going to go, you know, just for the experience.
No, I did not want to do it at all, because my older sister was doing the college already, and I was just like, that was one thing I was like very back and forth on. I was like, dang, that would be cool to do with my older sister. But at the same time, like, me and my older sister kind of like, we'd always get in arguments and everything. I was just like, dang, sometimes I love my sister, but sometimes like I hate her, you know? But to be honest, bro, saved my relationship with my older sister. Like, we're like, we never clash anymore. We have like the tightest relationship ever. So I'm so grateful for that. I think just knowing, I don't know, just kind of what the college is about, and I just felt like I already know everything, you know, which obviously I don't. And like, I never will, you know, until I get to heaven and I'm with God. It's like I'm never actually gonna fully hit like this checkered flag at the end, like, oh, you know everything about the Lord, you know everything. It's like, no, like I'm never gonna have that with my faith. It's gonna keep going more and more, and that's the best thing about God is it doesn't stop. Like it just keeps going. It's the best.
It's like the more you try to discover God, it's like the more you realize that you don't know anything about God or like you read the Bible and you're like, what? Like, you know, John the Baptist, I had no idea. I was reading, I'm like, what? They put John the Baptist's head on a platter? Like they cut his head off? I never heard this when I was growing up. Like there's so many details, so much depth into who God is that it's like you really don't know a lot about God. Because I mean, obviously you can know the simplicity of God because we have a loving God, we have a God who died for us, and that's the simplicity. But there's so much depth to that. There's so much more, and it's like to say you know it all is like no, it's like we don't, and that's so humbling that you say that. Like I don't know a lot. Like that's so real, and it's like it's a good perspective because if you think you know everything about God, like us humans, we're not supposed to know the depth of God. So people when people question God, it's like, yeah, of course you question God. You're not God. You don't understand God. Like we're so little compared to God. Of course we don't understand why certain things happen. You know, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, like, to me, I kind of hear that and I kind of am reminded of like having a childlike faith where it's like God wants us to be like children, so open-minded and just like, you know, you hear something from your mom or your dad when you're a little kid and you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. You said it, so I'm going to do it. Like, I have to do it, you know? That's how God is with us. It's like, he wants us to just fall in love with him and just be like, okay, God, you said this. I'm going to do it. And it's not him telling us be immature, be just, you know, crazy and wild. It's like, no, be mature, but be childlike with your faith. Like, be fully dependent on God like a child is with their parent. Be fully dependent on him, which is amazing.
That's a cool concept. Yeah, I think that's like definitely overlooked. Like people are like, oh, I need to be wise. It's like, yeah, be wise, but have faith like a child. And I think that's a great example is the parent, you know, like the father is, you know, the example for the child. And I don't know, you hit that really well. I think that we all need to have childlike faith and you know, and I feel like when you think of children, they're so innocent. And it's like, you know, when God sees us, we're supposed to be pure and blameless.
Yeah.
Obviously, we won't be, but we have to be as close as we can. If we love God, we're gonna obey him and try to be as close to that type of love. And if, like for me, like the biggest thing is like, dude, when I think of God, I just think of him looking down at me and saying like Wyatt, like Alex, like you are my sons who I love because you obey me and you love me. And like it's like a father loves his child. It's like, hey son, I'm proud of you, you know, like continue the good work. And it's so like heartwarming. It's like every time I do something good, it's not because I want to do more acts. It's like I love God, I want to do good things for him, you know. I do things for God because I want to make him proud of me. I want to show the love that he showed me back to him, you know.
Yeah, and that's crazy, dude, because being told I'm proud of you used to hit me so hard because when I grew up, like, my parents would never really say, like, I'm proud of you, this, and that, like, and it would just hit me hard because I would have people come up and pray for me, and sometimes, like, majority of the prayers I got, someone would end up saying, like, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you, and, like, to me, it's like, that was, like, a sign from God, like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Bro,
like this is great. Being told I'm proud of you is like, I feel like for every guy it's like the biggest like, let's go, like, bro, that's an 100%. Accomplishment, especially when it's a genuine one and you you can tell someone's like actually proud of you. Like it just, you feel great.
It hits, bro.
And but then I was like, okay, God has me here for a reason. And we had gone to MacArthur Park, which is like, it's pretty run down with like homelessness, drugs, and all that stuff. So there's just homeless people everywhere. And we were with I think it's DCLS, but it's the people at LA Dream Center. So they had their students and they're showing us what to do, go around the people, giving them food, water, like shampoo, all this stuff, you know. And we're like, okay, but we can also pray for them as well. So I have two stories. So the first guy, so we had gone around, we had prayed for a few people, and we had to pair up with a girl and a guy, just because, you know, it's like safety, you know, you never know, because there are like some like deaths and things that happen there. I see this guy, he was just sitting there, and I was just drawn to him. I was like, I need to pray for him. And so I walk up, and the girl that I was with, her name's Jewel, she's awesome. She was like, oh my gosh, he has a knife. And he did. He had a knife in his hand. Yeah. And he was like cutting his food, and I was like, I know, but I want to, like, I have a burden to pray for him. Like, I'll just stand a little further back. Like, it's okay. It'll be okay. Everybody's right there. We're all good.
It's stab in front of everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
That would have sucked. And I tell her, I'm just like, okay, but just stand further behind me, you know, like, it's fine. I'm just going to pray for him. So I look at him, and I'm like, hey, my name's Wyatt. I have some food, some water, some chips, and all this stuff for you if you want it. And he was like, yeah. But he didn't say yeah. He actually couldn't really speak because he was very, like, drugged out of his mind. He just went, and, like, was trying to speak, but he couldn't. And so I gave him all of his things and everything. And then I look at him like, what's your name? And I'm blanking on the name.
Nah.
That sucks.
Just kidding. But just make up a name.
Shoot. Justin. It's Justin.
Okay, it's Justin. Stick with it, even if it's not.
No, it is. It's Justin.
Justin. Okay,
it's Justin. I give him all this stuff, and I'm like, hey, bro, what's your name? And he's like, the only thing he could say was his name. And he's like, my name's Justin. And I was like, okay, perfect, bro. I'm going to pray for you. And he was like, oh, okay. He didn't actually say that, but he's like, he kind of looked like that, oh, okay, look, you know, he kind of went. And then, but he still has his knife in his hand, and I'm a little like, I want to close my eyes and pray for you, but I'm not going to close my eyes because you never know. So, you know, I stretch my hand out to him just because I'm like, I'm not going to lay my hand on your shoulder just because you do have a knife. Probably not the smartest idea, but I'm like this close to him, you know, which I probably could have, but it was like a safety thing with Dream Center and everything. And so I'm praying for him, and he pulls out his drugs. He's gonna light, I forget what type of drug it is, but he pulls out his tin foil, he has his lighter, he pulls it out, and he's trying to light his drugs to be able to smoke it or do whatever with it. And he just couldn't get his lighter to work, and I'm still praying over it. And then I just prayed, I was like, God just wants you to feel at peace with yourself. And instantly he kind of stopped what he was doing. He just kind of sat there, and he was just listening, and I'm just praying, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, God, like, I want you to speak right now. I don't want it to be my words. Let it be your words. So I'm just letting kind of whatever God's saying in my mind, I'm just letting it flow out of me. I'm not even second guessing what I'm getting in my mind, and I'm just letting it pour out. And he put his drugs away. He folded them up, put them in his pocket, and he just sat there and then started listening. And then I said amen, and he just sat there, and I was like, okay, bro, I love you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And it was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, he felt the presence of God for sure, because he was so determined to light his drugs. And as soon as he felt peace, because that's what I prayed over him, was peace, he just folded it all up and put it away. And to me, I'm just like, holy crap, bro. It was wild. That's one of my favorite experiences ever.
That's so cool, bro.
It was awesome. That. And then he got
you
up.
Couldn't light it?
I don't, and it's crazy because he had one of the torch lighters where it's like the second you press it down, like it typically they're supposed to just light. And it was like, holy crap, let's go. And so he got up, and then I just saw him, and he kind of walked away, like out of the park, which was great. And then later on, we had prayed for some other people and everything, and then we get to the end, and we're outside of the park now, and I'm just talking with these guys at this, like, it was like almost like a statue memorial looking thing, and we're sitting on the steps, and I'm just talking with all these guys, and this lady comes in, and all of the stuff, like, I could just feel the atmosphere change with all the guys. and they were all just kind of like it was so weird. Their demeanor changed and everything when she got there, and then they're kind of just talking to this one lady, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out who this lady is, because she's definitely a boss for sure. Like, she's so sick, I can already tell. So I kind of sit a little closer to her on the steps. I won't say her name just because I know, just because she grew up actually, or I guess I'll say it. But so I tell her my name and she tells me her name. We're just talking, and it's probably like 30 minutes. I'm just talking with her and everything, and then I'm like, hey, I want to know a little bit about your story. And she was like, oh, okay. And she was pretty normal. Like, she didn't seem like she had been doing drugs or anything like that. So it was like, okay, there's something different about you for sure. Because she's hanging out with all these guys who are on drugs and everything. So I'm like, okay, there's something different. We're just talking, and she's telling me her story. And she grew up in Oxnard Shores, which is right there.
That's crazy.
And I tell her, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm from Ventura, which is right there. To me, I was just like, okay, God, this is who you have me here for. Like,
yeah,
there's no way that, because a bunch of the people that are in the college are from out of town, out of state. So it's like, for me who grew up in Ventura to be talking to someone who also grew up in Ventura's neighbor, it's like, okay.
That's pretty insane.
God thing, not just a coincidence.
Yeah.
We're talking, she's like, oh, that's super cool. And we're just talking, I get to know her story, and she starts talking about how, her dad was in the military, so she had moved around, lived in Oxnard Shores the majority of her life. So her mom and sister got into a car accident because of a drunk driver, and they had died. After she had mentioned that, every other little thing she had told me about her life had led back to that. She was like, yeah, and that happened because my mom and my sister had passed away. And I was like, okay, like, she definitely is still like struggles with this. And apparently it was like 15, 20 years ago that had happened. And I was like, okay, it's been a while, but like, she still struggles so heavily with that. She stops talking. I'm like, hey, can I share a little bit about my story? And she's like, yeah. So I shared my story, you know, things that I had grown up with my parents, and all the hardships I had grown up with my parents, and then also alcohol, being addicted to substances and everything. And then, of course, you know, you got to lead it back to where God moved, you know. I told her about when God found me and everything that had happened, you know. It was crazy because she was so just in it, just listening, not looking around. She was like looking right at me, and that was like the craziest interaction I had with someone there. Everybody else was pretty distracted, but she was like locked in. And I was like, hey, I had it on my heart to pray for you. And she was like, okay. I just kind of sat there. For a solid like 10 seconds, just, Lord, please, I want it to be your words. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, to be honest, when I pray, to me, I'm just like, dang, I want to be able to pray better when it's just me by myself and everything. Like, so that's why when I pray for people, I'm like, I don't want it to be my words. Like, it shouldn't be my words. It should be your words, God. Like, what are you saying to your daughter right now? And I just started praying for her, and it was crazy. She started crying, and afterwards, like, I kind of had tears forming in my eyes, but my voice was like steady. Like, it wasn't trembling or anything. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, I don't have a golf ball in my throat right now, but I'm like crying. It was such an interesting like moment physically. And so I get done praying for her, and she had just looked at me, and she had just given me the fattest hug ever. And she was like, she had no words. And then she had told me, like, I don't remember the last time someone had prayed for me or even mentioned like God to me. It was like, God wanted me to be here today to talk to you right now. Like, there's no coincidence. Like, I'm supposed to be here talking to you. And she was like, yeah, totally. And then I told her, I was like, are you interested in going to church at all? And she was like, yeah, totally. I had told her about Dream Center's church and everything, and she's like, okay, I'll go. We get her a flyer, And then I had reached out to someone who is in the area at Dream Center, and I asked them, hey, is this person going to your church? And this was like a month or two ago, and they're like, yeah, she's been coming every week.
What?
So she completely flipped her life around because God put me in that position to talk with her and pray for her.
So after that moment, she continued to go to church because of that prayer that God used you to talk to her.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Dude, that is so cool, bro.
Yeah.
That is just like proof that we have a God that looks out for us, because he'll work through people like in the Bible, like the prophets and all the people who he works through to spread the good news of God.
Yeah.
Like, dude, God like used you for that moment. And
Yeah.
that is something that you have to share, bro.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that
absolutely.
is incredible that you're like, and the humility it takes, bro, to just put all your pride aside and say, God, I don't care what I say. Whatever I say, I don't even care. I want to be you speaking through me, and you having your heart posture, allowing God to speak through you. Miracles happen, bro. Good things happen.
Absolutely.
And it's so extraordinary to see that you've changed someone's life because you allow God to work through you. And so it's like, it's the whole idea of like, if you allow God to work through you, you're going to allow God to work through other people because of your heart posture and how open you are. And so like, that is such an extraordinary story. And like, dude, that's so cool that he chose you to relate with her. Like, God designs certain situations. Like, bro, I do not believe in coincidences. Things happen. Things are aligned for such a specific reason. And that moment, that time, that place was aligned so she could know God through you. And you allow God to work through you. And, you know, good things happen when you use yourself as a living sacrifice for God. And you said, God, no longer am I going to be talking to her, you're talking to her through me, and I'm allowing you to. And that's why you said you didn't have a golf ball stuck in your throat, because you were not stuttering. It was God using you. And I have seen so many moments where people can't even form words, like certain words, they're like very uneducated, and God uses young people. Like I have this close person, I'm not gonna say their name because that's kind of rude, but this close person who I know so well. And when he was younger, he was 4 years old, he couldn't speak any words. And he said to his mother, he's like, Mom, and this was after a really hard time for my close buddy. His family like split up, the mom and dad split, and the mom was in the other room in the same house. And that close friend was like, said this to his mom when he was 4 years old. He's like, Mom, I see flying angels. They're watching over you and protecting you. And I was like, this little kid is in this moment after the mom and dad had like been split. In this very moment, that child, my close buddy, was like, there's angels watching over you right now, protecting you. And God comforts us in the moments when we need it most. And I'm sure that lady needed that moment, and she has been going to church since then because she has now found that longing she desires.
Totally.
Dude, that's so cool.
And you saying comfort reminds me of another story, bro. And it is so good. It was literally the same day. Oh my gosh, I'm remembering another story. Okay, so it's the last day of our missions trip. We were praying for this other team that was serving at Dream Center, and Judah had led it. And it was like, dang, crazy powerful moment where we're just praying for all these groups and these people. And so we're at like Dream Center in their like worship church area. I saw this lady, and her hands were like kind of like, she had like a deformity in her hands. And I don't know what it was about her, but I was like genuinely like drawn to her, like physically, like as a magnet. Like it was the craziest thing ever. And I'm just like somehow like walking over to her, and I'm like, Lord, I literally said, I was like, I don't want to pray for her right now, because if I pray for her out loud in front of everyone, because that's kind of what was happening, I was like, I'm going to do it for attention from everybody else around me, and I'm going to seek like attention from everybody, because I could tell that's where my mind was going, like, oh, okay, God's going to give me the words to say to this lady right now. All my friends are going to see me, like, cool, I'm going to get the attention. And I already knew that's where my mind was going. I was like, God, God, like, I don't want to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited until we were done praying, and she stayed in the room, and I was like, let's go.
Which already was like setting
Which
up.
already was great, and my older brother, I call him elder brother Carter,
Mhm.
he stayed in the room, and that's why I was okay to do it, because I was like, I'm not going to be alone with someone or a girl and pray for her. So Carter had stayed in the room with me, and this lady and a few other people from her team, they were all just walking around talking, and I walk over to her, and I'm like, I need to pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just know that God wants me to pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell her my name, and she tells me her name. And I asked her, I was like, can I hold your hands?
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me like slightly confused.
Right.
And I was like, no, like, I want to hold your hands. And so she's like, yeah. So I hold her hands, and I just start speaking. And it's not even my words, bro. Not even my words. Things are just like coming out of my mouth, and I don't even, like, almost like I didn't even know what I was saying, but I was just like, God's in control. Like, I know it's God speaking. And so I'm just praying for this lady, and we're having this moment, and it was great. And so afterwards she gave me a hug, and we had talked for a little bit, and then I had left. But it was like crazy, because I was genuinely physically drawn to this lady. Just like moving, my body was like moving towards her. It was,
Right.
Didn't know how to say it, but the prayer was like powerful, for sure.
And so what was wrong with her hands?
So her fingers were kind of like, she didn't really have fingers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But like, she only had like palms, but her palms were a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's so genuine too. Like that,
mhm.
she was like, because like that is not easy to like kind of go out of your way and say, hey, like, I want to hold your hands, because you looked at her no different than like a normal person. Because it's hard to see someone who has a disability and say, you have to understand that they're exactly like we are. They think the same. They're the same people, and God doesn't view them any different than us, and that's how we're supposed to see them too. And it's hard because we have these things in our mind that can sometimes view people, things differently. But we're supposed to view people all as people that God loves in His eyes, and so that's so genuine, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Another crazy little story.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. So we're serving at this thing, and it's called food truck, and
food share?
Food truck.
Oh, food truck.
So we load up these big old like box trucks, like almost like U-Haul trucks, full of food for these people, and we pull out what's it called?
Crates?
When you pull out the line.
Oh wait.
You can wheel stuff up it.
Oh, I guess like the ramp.
Yeah, the ramp.
That makes sense.
So we pulled out the ramp, and we load all the food up and everything, and we're just giving out food, talking to the people, and it was so funny because like majority of the people walking through like only spoke Spanish. So I keep asking my friend Ava, who was right next to me, like, how do you say you're very beautiful in Spanish? So I kept like telling all the ladies like, oh, you're very beautiful in Spanish, and you know, it's gone now. I don't know it. I literally asked her every single time.
Muy beautiful.
Something like that, bro. And so.
Oh, guapa. Muy guapa.
Yes, I think so. I think so. That sounds very familiar.
U.S. muy guapa. We're so gringo, bro.
Absolutely. But this one lady comes through, and we had people at the end praying, and I don't know, I was like, dang, I want to talk to this lady. So I switch with someone, and I walk with this lady, and we're just talking, and I pray for her, but I'm like, it was like an encouraging prayer, and it was more so me, and I just knew in my heart, I was like, God, like, I know that's not what you wanted me to say. I literally felt like that for like 10 minutes. I was like, I messed up. That's not what God wanted me to say or do in that moment. What the heck? Like, I wasn't open to hearing what God wanted me to say. And so I'm back in line, handing out food, having a fun time, just talking with all the people walking through. This lady comes back in line, and technically you're not supposed to walk back in line, but I was like, it's okay, I'm just gonna give her some food. So I gave her more food, and then I'm like, hey, I need to pray for you again. Like, I don't know why. I have a burden to just pray for you.
Wow.
pray for her again.
Mm.
And I walk back and I'm still like, that is not what
Second
I was
time?
supposed to pray for you.
A second time?
Mm-hmm.
What?
The second time. And I'm like, God, I know that wasn't what you wanted me to say. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time just obeying you. Then I see her and she's just standing around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pray again. Third time.
That is humbling.
It was most humbling thing ever.
Yeah.
I pray for her again. And her name was Maria. And I go back, third time. I just like knew it. I just could feel like there is something more that God wants me to pray for her for.
Yeah.
So then she sticks around. We're done with food truck pretty much. And she's still there. And I'm like, okay. And I took a moment and I was like, God, please, like I want to say exactly what you are speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up to her and I'm like, okay, I know this is crazy. This is gonna be the fourth time I've prayed for you. And she's like, yeah, a little confused. And I was like, but I know God wants to say something to you. And she was like, okay. And so I start praying. And then all of a sudden, I just feel it in my heart. And I start praying. I was like, you are a great mother.
Mm.
Like, you are a great mother. And that's what was on my heart. And she didn't have a ring or anything on it. I was just like, you are an amazing mother. The Lord honors how you raise your children, how you raised your children.
Mm.
You are an amazing mother. And then I felt just like ask her a question. And I asked her, I was like, do you have two sons? And she looked at me and she started bawling. And she said, my two sons had passed away in a car accident 2 years ago.
What?
And I was like, there's no way. And so
You just randomly asked, like, do you have two sons? Like, God put on your heart that she had two sons. You just like,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
dude, that's a gift, bro. That's
It was
so cool.
It was crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, yeah. It was.
How did she react to that?
She just started crying, and I was like, hey, I need to pray for you. And she was like, yes, okay. And so we just started praying, and it was really good. And then it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt in my heart at the end of my prayer, I just felt like God saying, like, I love you, Mom. I was like, I love you so much.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so there's a quote that I love, and it's from Perks of Being a Wallflower. I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's we accept the love we think we deserve. And I hear that and I'm like, well, I will never deserve God's love. The truest form of love is sacrificial. There's a verse, Romans 5:8, and it says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. A lot of people struggle with accepting that you can make a mistake and someone's still gonna love you. When it comes to like people who are atheists, who don't believe in God, or I think a lot of that stems from how can something love me when I make a mistake? Naturally, I'm like, dang, how could you do that to me? You wronged me. And they have this view now. Okay, this person, Wyatt, is a Christian, and he hates me right now. How can the person he follows teach that he loves you through your wrongs? And I think as believers, it's so important to just be steady-minded and just remind people of how much we love them, and to keep a level temper and just really focus on showing love. And you know, when people mess up, because we're always gonna mess up, I'm gonna mess up probably today, probably right after this, I'm gonna do something, you know, where it's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. But it's like, there's a verse about that, and I have it tattooed because it's my favorite verse. It's
yeah?
Isaiah
Just show
60.
it off if you want.
It's on my back.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's Isaiah 63 verse 9, and it says, in all the distress he too is distressed, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and his mercy he redeemed them, picked them up and carried them all the days of old. It's a long verse, but
That's crazy. Remember that. That's good.
yeah, it literally means we're gonna fall over and over and over, but God's always gonna be there right in front of us, just picking our head up and saying, just come back. It's okay. Like, you fell, but my eyes are on you, and your eyes need to be on me. Just keep your eyes pointed at me, and it's gonna be okay.